Test 1, 2, 3. 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 Testing 1, 2, 3. Test, test. Test, test. Test, test.
Microphones, I guess. So we'll call the meeting to the PFC Corporation to order. Thank y'all for coming just a little bit early to get this item handled so we can have it ready for the following meeting. I'll turn it over to Daphne. Trent is not here today, obviously, so I'll chair this short meeting. Daphne can give everybody the update and where we need to be.
One.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I have Lonnie got me straight and then I messed it up. So there are no citizens wishing to address the committee. And then I will ask for approval of the minutes of December 14th. Moved by Tim. Second by Dorothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now I'll turn it over to Daphne for the update regarding the PFC.
Thank you. In the December meeting, we were getting all the documents finalized for this project, and we're anticipating closing in early first quarter. As part of the document process, there are many parties in council who have to review all aspects of the deal. And so we just had one issue come up kind of in these last phases, and really not an issue, but a concern raised by TDHCA. That's the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. So currently, the structure that we have contemplated for the land piece of this deal is that this is the hospital district's land. You all previously approved a ground lease to the PFC entity for that land, and then the PFC was going to sublease the land to the project. TDHCA has asked that that be closer to the actual operating entity, so that they have recommended that the PFC actually be the land holder with one lease between the PFC and the ultimate operating entity. So we have drafted documents that would allow for that. We're still having discussions around that, but because of the timing of the transaction, we need to go ahead and get that approved if we're required to move forward in that way. And just as a reminder, obviously the PFC board has the same makeup as the hospital district board, so we are still the body that controls what ultimately happens to that land. So it is a minor shift. The resolution that we have put in front of you contemplates kind of an either-or structure, because as we mentioned, we'd like to keep the structure the same if we're able to cross that hurdle with the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, but right now it looks like we may have to shift. So that is what we're bringing forward. The documents that are contemplated is a special warranty deed that would transfer the land from the hospital district to our PFC entity, so that's the entity that this board is formed for, and the lease that would be between the PFC and the limited partnership. And I will pause there to see what questions you have around that.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand that the change is that it was to be under the hospital district, the lease. We were subleasing it. So now it will go to this board, the PFC board.
So the change is, right now, the hospital district owns the land. Mm-hmm. We were going to lease the land to the PFC. Okay. And then they were going to lease the land to the operating entity. Okay. So that's two leases.
Right, okay.
We're asking to go to one. So it's a minor shift. We just transfer the land to the PFC so that they own it.
Okay.
And then the PFC will enter into the lease.
Oh, okay.
That is the shift that this resolution allows for.
PFC owns the land. Are there any liability concerns being a landowner? It could be something trips and falls on the property. Does the PFC inherit all of the benefits that the hospital district has as a government entity? Concerned about maybe some insurance to protect against liability?
Sure. So what we are doing is we will be shifting and addressing those in the lease to the operating entity, and they will have to have the appropriate insurance. And we have worked with counsel to kind of think through, what that language needs to look like to ensure that we have the proper protections in for the PFC. Because that is, to your point, I'm glad you asked that question, was the primary thing that we were sort of focused on. And I don't want, if we get into too much of the legal nuances, we can take that into close. But we wanted to make sure that we weren't setting up a different liability or separate infrastructure for the PFC entity in making this change. So we are scrubbing for all of that. We'll build some additional language into the bylaws too to make sure that the hospital district board has the approval rights on anything that happens in addition to that land, and that the PFC, if for whatever reason we got to a situation where the makeup of this board is not identical to the hospital district board, that the hospital district board would still have controls in place.
As long as we're looking at liability issues.
We are, for sure.
Does the PFC have?
So it would be, that would be our position, obviously, but we're still making sure that we have the right language in there so that it passes to the lessee. There was no concerns. You have an astute member of your board that caught some language that we had also caught in our Exhibit B. We have placed a refreshed document in front of you. There was some leftover language from the title insurance policy that we pulled out. And just, again, we have our outside counsel looking at this. Our partner, NRP, has counsel that will be reviewing all the documents. Obviously, the Housing Authority has counsel, and then the lenders. So we've got counsel from Chase Bank. There's lots of eyes on all of these documents, and we are uber focused on the protections for the hospital district and the PFC entity.
Under request, it's the Texas agency that requested it.
Yeah, and they're the ones that approve the tax credits, so they are kind of in that lender lane for this particular deal. But yes, they believe that, from a HUD perspective, that this is a change that needs to happen.
Oh, I'm always concerned about that.
Well, we fired you off this deal, Tim, so we're good.
Won't have any ROI on this one.
Yeah, right. Those billables keep going up and up and up.
I guarantee you, our bills are low because we have the least amount of paid lawyers. You're not paying any extra for my time, that's for sure.
So is this a two-motion approval?
It is not. It's
Okay.
just an approval. The resolution contemplates all of the documents that we were talking about. We've amended it and restated to take care of the requests that we're asking for. And again, just to clarify, if we are able to successfully get them comfortable that we don't have to make any changes, our preference is to keep the
the
deal that
same.
we had. And so this allows us to shift without having to come back here. So if we can get an approval of the amended and restated resolution, then we will have the authority that we need on the documents to move forward. Today, and if we have to do this, the PFC, which is also our entity, would own the land.
Wonder, never mind. I thought I was thinking lessee. Okay.
You got it?
Follow now.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, I'll ask for a motion.
Just so we know what we're voting on, the exhibits A and B it's in the red folder, not what's on the iPad.
No, correct. The amended documents that are attached to it is in the red folder.
And those are amended past what the update yesterday that was in the portal.
Correct. And the
That's what we're voting.
resolution, though, has not changed, which is what you're voting on, the amended and restated resolution.
Okay.
So I move to approve the amended and restated resolution authorizing the Magnolia Lofts transaction.
Motion, a second. Any other discussion?
Yes, Daphne, is that motion sufficiently detailed for our needs?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
You actually would question the attorneys.
He trusts his.
He can, he's not paying
He trusts
him.
the attorney of the PFC board.
Okay.
I'll send you my bill later.
Yeah. Without any other business for the PFC Corporation Board meeting, we will be adjourned at 12:46.